Take one associate. There's one primary,
Green?
secondary lot.
Green?
So one of them, one is all the other three children.
Here you go, Grant.
Good, how are you?
Then we pay it for them.
23rd
Or
is the
be
8th.
out there without.
Well, we want them to be able to be on this house.
So then,
They gotta pay the $249 if they wanna be without us.
yeah, and the one that's
So we could get, I'm not,
rarely.
He's sitting behind us.
Yeah. Until,
until if he moves back down here.
yeah. Because they're gonna come a couple times a year.
I believe so.
They're gonna be around.
Yeah.
Or so really,
He
that's
went
the only
to the
time
county
they're
and
gonna
talked to
do
them,
it.
the information that he gave to the board.
You got the roll to yourself back
I like it in the back row.
We,
Did you want me to follow up on? Oh, we're still working with them on some fundamental stuff. It's not done. Because they're, we have to get their logistical stuff needs to be paired up with ours. We're working on it right now. You can't just turn it on. Yeah, yeah. Hey, look at this number. Showing the number. How many people do you think we have to email? Just.
We may have to,
is that not resolved yet?
what?
Better yet, Jim,
Sam
what's the
does.
percentage?
1,300. And it doesn't include
Yeah,
so it's a big number.
you're talking
I didn't know it
about
was that good.
2 feet? Yeah.
Now, do they read it?
Yeah.
That's more than I thought.
There's not, I mean, everybody's been informed of all the walls.
You should go back.
He brought us stuff from the
Yeah, me.
county,
I just had to enjoy that.
They just want us to switch
Let's get no problems. How you doing?
I know you just want to be me. It's
He just wrote somehow.
basically the best thing we got.
well, he brought in the approval from the
At least on this
county.
side,
His drawing.
Maybe I don't want to be.
They basically.
I want to work, but I want to retire.
You might want to be me, I'm retired.
That's what I'm just thinking.
So that's,
I'm there.
I'm not gonna work anymore.
More
I don't know what else we did. A foot or two.
Actually, no,
I understand that, everybody's heard that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is it the one down in Columbus?
I do know.
It is the one down.
Well, they put their stamp on it.
It's
It's
about
in his file.
an hour at 10 o'clock.
Well, we don't have a file here tonight, but we get the file.
You can either go up 465 to 65 and go down, or you can go across town and go for the middle area. Yeah, I'm just staying. I've got a couple of friends down there.
This is on the docket tonight. You can, if you want to mention
Currently on site all the time. I start at 6:30. Yeah. Well, I got friends down there, so I'm staying with them. Come back and forth, checking the house. I've got my parents. Yeah.
that was my first thought when I read that number 2.
That's the
It's like,
Yeah,
I'm willing to put my money down. Check out the law.
I go hoping I can start meeting myself.
It's still.
You know, like at night. It's more comfortable to be in there. Like I've walked around the house. Just to kind of get used to it.
Six or something.
That was just
If I go.
So I mean, it's just all the strength is, you know, so you can do like that calf raise. I can't even do that with my legs. I'm standing up. It's like
Family up.
yeah, it doesn't do
They
anything.
don't have time for those.
It's like this. It's kind of like a hand lock.
All right. Yeah, it's like, what did I do? I do all these things, and then I'm like, it's Thursday. I started this on Tuesday.
I'm still not getting it. I got beautiful eyes, but I'm not getting it. All right.
Now it looks like this. Looks like winter time.
Yes, but it had to be out.
College, they told me to on average.
I did not. I did not.
8 times, so.
You know, information coming down from the.
I guess Kim, who sent this to Kim was thinking about it right there. If you could put a comma,
Well, I went out there and started equipment.
you know, what I present such as. Yeah, just waiting on that. Captain's choice. And
How about enforceability? Do you have anything?
well, it's Ken, well, no, Ken indicated the only thing is that the person, so as far as they closed out. You know, you probably say, you had to stop. Set the disabled. So you put that.
What's the date, all day? Next time.
Are we gonna? Are we gonna pay that?
Oh, really?
The way he's explaining it, you're putting the ground traffic loop, you know, make sure that was contract.
I think that's,
You could leave it armed all the time, though, so.
Good holiday.
What's that?
You too.
No, it's good.
All you gotta,
I've been doing this.
all you gotta do is just
I did a lot.
fade in, you'll be all right.
But you'll feel the difference.
all right, I've got 7 o'clock. If everybody would please stand. Pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, everybody. Welcome to the first board meeting of 2019. Today's January 14th. Welcome back from the holiday. Hope everybody had a good one. We'll start with announcements. Clear Creek Conservancy, Dwayne Kelly.
Wayne Kelly, 282 Patriots Landing. The gates on the spillway are closed, so this inch of rain we got in white stuff or so, if the ground's saturated, when it melts, we should hit some water in the lake. The spillway project is 99.9% complete. The spillway has to be sealed again next spring after the weather warms up. It got cold, too cold on them quick to get the seal done to do a good job, so they backed off and will do that next spring after the weather warms up.
Thanks, Wayne. Floyd Township Fire, Brian Erden. Nope. Neighborhood Watch is off until spring. HLCS, Harold Pato. Harold is not here. Helmack, Jan Salee. Anyone from Helmac? POA Security, Brian Helmer.
Yeah, the big thing again is the burglaries. They're still hitting the construction sites, and recently they've been hitting the homes for sale, the vacant ones. Last week, a stove was stolen out of one of the vacant homes at 143 Lincoln Hills. So if you guys can keep an eye on your neighbors, especially the vacant ones, they're getting hit still. And that's it.
Thank you. Presentation of agenda, December 10th board meeting. Any corrections or edits? If not, I'll take a motion.
Motion to accept.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Okay. December 10th executive meeting. Any additions or corrections? If not, I'll take a motion.
Motion to accept.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. December 17th operations meeting. Any additions or corrections? If not, I'll take a motion.
Motion to accept.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And December 17th executive meeting. Any additions or corrections? If not, I'll take a motion.
Motion to accept.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Treasurer's report, Jim Johnson.
Very brief one tonight. Our books for the year end are not yet fully closed, which is normal. For that reason, we're not going to have a full treasurer's report. However, we do have our cash and investment positions. And just for clarity, investments to us means duration of cash. So it's not like we're invested in the market. Our short-term cash is $189,379. Our total investments, which are made up of CDs and money market checking accounts, $688,610.
Thank you, Jim. Board committee reports, A&E, Ben Fuchs.
Ben Fuchs, 77 Gettysburg. December, we had 4 permits. All 4 were houses. One of them was 1,300 square feet. 2 of them were 1,467, and one 1,560. The committee is requesting the board consider a couple situations. But before we announce what they are in front of the public, we need to probably run it past the lawyer. So Paul has a copy of it. There's just a couple changes in our rules.
Okay. Thank you, Ben. Campground is off until spring. Cleanup is off until spring. Government is still open, so there's no report for them. Lake Committee and Clean Water are both off till spring. Long Range Planning. Harold is not present, but I don't know if you have anything, Deborah, as co-chair?
No, we've delayed our meeting. Probably happen, hopefully one this month. Starting out with their own. Okay.
And what night is that your meeting, do you know? What night?
Normally it was Tuesdays. We don't have a clarification yet.
Okay,
Harold's busy with the telephone director.
sure.
So it's
Okay, thank you, Deborah. Siltation,
We're off till spring.
okay.
We are having, I have called a meeting in January. We had a drone, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Wayne
I guess you are giving a
Conservation.
report, Dwayne, sorry.
We had a fellow with a drone take pictures of all the coves, the north end, south end, back while the lake was down about 6.5 feet. So I called a meeting for the 24th of this month, the siltation committee, so we can view those pictures. Our hopes are, with Tom's help, that we'll be able to put those as an attachment to your website So anybody at the lake can go in and look at them. If somebody lives on Cove X, they can go look at Cove X and see what it looked like with the different drone pictures for that cove.
Cool. Thank you, Dwayne. EPT is also off until spring, so we'll move on to the manager's report. Ken.
Flying right through this.
I know, right?
All right, I'd like to start off by thanking all of the sponsors that joined the Touching Hearts during the Christmas holiday that helped make several children and their families over the past 4 years have a brighter Christmas. We thank you very much and look forward to your kindness again next year. An update on the picnic shelter at the point. The material, I have ordered that to rebuild a larger 18 by 60 foot picnic structure. The material is supposed to arrive this week. My plan is to have this built sometime in early spring. An update on regarding the Patriots Landing Park. 2 new rubber coated 8-foot picnic tables have been delivered for that location. The 4 poles have been set and concreted, and the shaded screen that will attach to the poles has arrived and will be installed in the spring. The newly replaced Jefferson Valley tie-up dock has been completed. There are also have a new deck area added to this location that will hold picnic tables. My plan is to add some additional gravel for a parking area. Also, the replacement of the marina tie-up dock area is underway, and hopefully, weather pending, we will have that completed within the next 3 weeks. The new playground equipment that we purchased for the campground, marina, and Lincoln Park has been installed. The only thing pending to be done, we are required, been educated on playground equipment, we are required approximately 10 inches of mulch around the play area, around the ground equipment. And I will be getting some prices to have that completed before spring. Also a reminder, our year-end annual meeting will take place February 23rd from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. located here at the lower level. Everyone will be receiving their annual report by mail sometime the first part of February. The meeting will be streamed live just like all other meetings. I ask all committee chairs, please have your committee reports turned into the office by the end of the month. And finally, the assessments for 2019, they're each calculated from the Bureau of Labor Statistics CPI Index. Once they have computed and entered the numbers is when we find out our assessments for the year. This was completed late Friday, and our assessments for 2019 is $249 per lot. I will be sending out an email, a blast email out to everybody, let them know that. That's it.
Thank you, Ken. Old business A, insurance requirement for ATV, UTV, and golf carts. Ron Reagan.
Thank you. As you know, we started this back in November, and we've tabled it due to various questions and getting our insurance agent in and trying to make sure that we've got this thing in line. The last time we tabled this, we're going to ask Ken, we were going to contact our attorney to make sure that we had everything in line as far as the insurance liability required. And Ken, if you would kind of elaborate on that conversation, please.
All right, I spoke to our attorney, and he said that, you know, anybody can sue anybody at any given time. But he did agree that that it was a very good idea to pass a rule stating somewhere in the neighborhood of all golf carts, ATVs, and any motorized vehicles must be insured with liability insurance to operate on any common property. Owner is responsible for accidents. He just thought this was a good, this would protect us, that if we had it in our rules, and it would be a good form of protection for us to put it in there. He did state that about all of his inner city POAs, they do not allow golf carts, ATVs as such on common property at all.
He didn't go so far as to recommend we actually have them registered and we give them a sticker to show that they've been vetted or in any way. It's just up to the owner to comply.
Correct.
Okay.
I think that would be more if it would just be easier for us to identify. That would be something just more easier for us to monitor. This is just more to protect.
Okay.
Yeah,
The lake's
I
interest.
don't wanna put something in, we gotta stop our vehicle and look at it, it's got this little tag on it, a sticker. I'd like to also at this time, as you recall, we'd asked for a one-time vote on this, it's already on the table, and I'd like to modify the item to also show mopeds and snowmobiles to be added to that item. We should probably put that in and cover ourselves with that just in case. At that point, I guess I would ask for a vote.
Do we have a motion on the table already?
Yeah, it was put on the table about 2 months ago, and we just kept tabling it. And I'm not against that, I'm just saying it's already on.
Yeah, I just don't recall what the wording of the original motion was. Tom?
Now, do you want to use the wording that Ken just gave us as the motion? The wording that Ken just read to us, I believe you said it was from the attorney or the insurance. Can we have that as the motion?
We could have that as the motion and move from there. Just need to add the first original, just showed ATVs, UTVs,
Right.
and that was it. But I'd like to add the.
Can you just read that again?
All golf carts, ATVs, if you want to include mopeds, snowmobiles, or any other motorized vehicles, must be insured with liability insurance to operate on any common property. Owner is responsible for any accident.
Do you want to make that?
Yep.
I second
that. For the reading of that motion.
Okay, we've got a motion, we've got a second. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, unanimous? So that'll pass, so you'll get that wording into the rules
Yeah,
as soon as possible.
I'll get with.
All we have to do is identify what rule.
Yeah, which rules?
Yeah, it would go in the rules, just like that.
Any
Which rules
recommendations?
though?
It would go into the community rules.
General rules?
General rules, under
General rule.
Yeah, we'd have to put some sort of notation on the campground.
What about our lease agreement for each
They don't usually
person?
read them.
Should it also be in the lease agreement for each person that's renting the space?
Renting what space? Campground
At the
space?
campground,
Yeah.
they'll get the rules.
So you think that's enough? Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Well, I would suggest putting it in the campground rule book and the general rule book.
Oh, yeah, be in both of those, for
Okay.
sure,
Okay,
for sure.
Okay. All right, thank you, Ron.
thank you.
Good job.
I'll type this up and I'll make it out better for you.
Next item is course and security. You guys have a pack in front of you. Ken and I, before the break for the holiday, we met with Luke from Corson, and we toured the clubhouse, the activity center, we went over to the marina, we went to the campground, we went to the burn pile. We talked about different opportunities for either cameras, gates, keypads, card readers, and the like. So we requested him that he provide a quote for everything broken out separately, because this is gonna be quite costly, actually, after you start looking through what the cost is and what the maintenance fees are. So you've got that in front of you now. I know it's kind of like last minute just to look through now, but you can kind of see what the numbers are. We previously, when we were talking about this, I think we all understood that was gonna be a phased approach. I don't think any of us really expected we'd be able to get everything in at one time, in 1 year. So I don't know if we want to talk about what we want to prioritize, if the costs just aren't worth what we think the benefit's going to be. it's just kind of open for discussion now. I'm not looking to make a motion necessarily at this time, but I want to just have everybody's input on this.
Did Corson suggest what kind of gate it would be? Question one.
He's got a gate guy. He wasn't able to join us.
I mean,
for
the
tour.
sliding gate.
It's a 17, it's on there, 17-foot cantilever, 5 feet tall. Vinyl chain link, it's nice, that's nice. I mean, that's definitely commercial pro grade stuff. Typically cantilever's got 3 wheels, and as it slides, it kind of tips down a little bit, and then when it rolls back, it tips the other way. I mean, it's, you know, you're talking an inch of tip, I mean, it doesn't, it's not like,
Yeah.
Did they have any response time to, you know, I see the monthly maintenance of $30 a month. Did they identify any response time to any issues? You know, last time we discussed the fact that, you know, Ken might be inundated with a lot of calls regarding this approach.
What I recall is that he said that he has guys around the area that would be able to respond, and I don't remember the exact amount of time that he said. It's gonna vary, obviously, but.
it can be in your
It would be-
contract.
yeah.
Like, we have a contract for response times, like, we have to be at a site within so many hours of the call being received by the shop. Just, sorry, it's for future reference, I do access control, my company's all the way in Indianapolis, and they're nowhere near as big as Corson, so I know a little bit about it, to be dangerous. But most of the time when you have like some sort of a monthly quote, it's usually just to ensure that they have to take your call and they have to take it within so many hours and get a tech out to you to fix whatever that problem is.
To answer you though, Tom, he didn't give us a specific time.
So that's something if we decide to go forward as
Yeah, we would have to.
AJ suggested, have it written in the contract.
Yeah, agreed.
Anything regarding, so this vinyl keypad and cell, or is it going to be card accessed? Is that this Wingate interface module, card reader with keypad? So therefore, there's going to be a card required. Correct.
Card and or code.
Card and or code?
Yeah, I think we can do either, or, I don't know, yeah, either or both. I think he just gave us any options that are possible. We haven't obviously decided which way we would want to go.
They sometimes do make it all in one. That'll have a prox card reader also embedded with a keypad. So say you had a keypad for, say my number was 1, 2, 3, 4, but also I had a badge number 5, 6, 7, 8. Those 2 numbers would be associated with my lot. So when I would scan the badge, it would show up in the system as 5, 6, 7, 8 was scanned, or it would see my code punched in. And if each person would have their own, each lot would have their own code. So if you gave your code out to somebody else and we went back and looked at the log, we would see, you know, lot 1, 2, 3, 4 was used at midnight when they weren't supposed to be. And so then we would have a record of it.
Yeah, that would be my follow-up question, what AJ alluded to, the fact we could go back and look at the records. Did he identify the logistics of that? I mean, will the office have the ability from a computer to go to a website?
Yes.
Yes.
They have an app too, smartphone apps they can use to help monitor.
So he did say that, but he didn't show you an example of what it looks like or anything?
No.
Just like an access log? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
Okay,
It would probably be similar to just time stamping,
yeah.
whatever information we input in the system with the
who it
card.
was, what time it was, the location it was.
So if if we built out a system over time at the burn pile, at the clubhouse, at the marina, at the activity center, each place you could name the door that they went in, and so they could go to the bowling, or they could go to the activity center and show, and Ken would be badging himself in to certain areas. Like I said, these things are only as good as the information you input into it. If you just hand out a bunch of cards to 2,000 people, you're gonna have a bunch of numbers in there, but no real data, so it's gonna be kind of a.
Well, you also,
heavy
don't you
lift.
also have the problem of, for instance, a contractor working on somebody's lot, and the owner says, take this debris, maybe it's just leaves, take it over to the lot and punch in 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, that contractor's got that number's not gonna go away, right? So he can use that number when he's working on somebody else's lot.
Well, you could have it changed. I mean, you're not gonna have it rolling. I don't think we need that kind of a
No.
level of security, but,
That'd drive people crazy.
yeah, but you're taking responsibility for handing out that information.
Okay.
So if you're handing it over and it comes back 6 months later that this happened and we have camera evidence of this contractor or this person, you can be like, well, it's not me. Well, how did they get the number? Oh, I gave it to him when he worked on my lot. Well,
Okay.
you've compromised the security of what we're trying to do, so.
So that, yeah, that's what.
It becomes everybody's
that's what we're really after,
responsibility.
To find out who's.
Yeah, well, you know, like I said, if we're gonna run power out there and data and all that, I mean, cameras are doable. Like I
So
said,
we're
all it takes is
assuming that we
money.
would have a camera.
I mean, all it takes is money to put anything we want out there.
I mean, if we get all that out there, we can probably put a camera out there.
I mean, if you're gonna trench in power all the way out there, it's
Yeah.
probably easy enough to
Yeah.
trench.
There's
in.
already a camera, right?
It's, where is that, Bob?
I have no idea.
Far, it's.
I mean, this is
far away,
really,
but it
this is real early in the discussion to start picking
To
out
have it,
specifics of what gates are gonna be where, but this is a really good start, Chris. I mean, this has got a lot of.
I would like to give you guys a chance to go through this with a little bit more time. I recommend that we table it for now and bring it back to the ops meeting and see if I can get him to come back out and he can answer specific questions that we can bring to him. Is that good with everybody?
He just sent us this information over the weekend, so,
Yeah.
or I would have sent it out to everybody, give a chance to review it, but.
If you have questions, Tom, just email me. I'll try to answer them.
No, I could do that, I certainly could do that, but
What'd you say, Jim?
we need to know what courses might be done by.
Yeah, there's a lot.
There is a lot in here, and there's a lot of different options, and each option is
I
going
would
to be
just
a
think
different
maybe-
price. And you know, we may need some of this stuff, we may not need some of this stuff, but it's worth starting further discussion, so.
These are all individual prices, right?
Yep,
Yeah, they're
yep, it's all broken out,
It's a
you can see
menu.
each one is
Okay.
I
highlighted. as
just
to
would
what it
wonder,
is.
Ken's opinion on, specifically, let's target the burn pile, the effectiveness of this, it's gonna be at least, it's gonna be over a $20,000 solution. The effectiveness of it, in your opinion?
I would think it would, with what he's proposing, I would think it'd be very effective. If the access is correctly monitored. And I don't know about the key punch of I would think it'd have to be some kind of a card issued. That they're not gonna, they may give that card to that contractor, but they're gonna want that card back.
They would.
I guess my question also is always, do you have the staff to support the monitoring of this to the level that you think is needed? I mean, it's a question to think about.
Yeah,
I think that the times that you're really gonna wanna monitor is when you know something happened between this hour and this hour, or you recognize something was damaged or taken, then you can go back and scrutinize the records in that area. I think that would be helpful. I don't know if you're gonna have somebody just sitting there looking at the cameras all the time.
There's also administration, though, if I can't get the gate open,
Yep,
that'll be happening.
and that goes back to Tom's question about what is their response time, and is there an override?
Well, I'm actually thinking user problems.
Yes.
Yeah, well, then there's that.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So there'll be a learning curve.
Yeah,
That
for
we have
sure.
to expect, you're absolutely right. But Ken doesn't get many calls, so.
I guess that would be my question again, for him to consider.
On Christmas Day.
Yeah, that's valid.
But that's what we're really putting it in for, is the exceptions anyway, that's what we're looking for, is the exceptions, not the rule.
That's right.
For the exceptions.
Jeff?
Just to make a point, Jeff Brooks, 123 Patriots Landing, there's already been a couple comments about contractors. Contractors aren't supposed to dump at the burn pit. Even if they're cleaning your yard up, you hire them, they gotta get rid of it somewhere. So I think that will, that if that were enforced again, that would eliminate that as well.
That's a good point.
Ken, have we seen issues slow with the burn pile? I mean, is it?
We have, but as the cold weather kind of sets in, I think the
Right.
construction is kind of really tapered off. Everybody, what we're having problems with is people taking their docks and their treated boards and stuff like that down there. I think everybody got a rush on ripping everything out, and I think that's kind of done for now. What I foresee, future problems is the growth that we are experiencing is the clearing of lots and taking a whole lot full of trees and stumps and everything out there. That's what I see continuing to happen.
Is that not allowed?
No, it's not supposed to be.
It's only supposed to be light debris.
It's on the sign down there now.
4 inches or something?
Now, it could be
I
pretty,
don't think I've only been there once.
it could be, it could be pretty cheap to dig a humongous hole over there and use that for stumps and large things, and when it fills up, we cover it up.
Okay, so we'll table this for now, see if we can get Luke to come back out for the operations meeting, and then we'll continue the discussion with them and figure out where we wanna go next. Thanks, guys. Next item on the agenda, proposed lake rules, Tom Novak.
Yes, this has to do with the conversation we had back on December 10th regarding 3 rules presented by the Lake Committee. Of those 3 rules, one had to do with age increase that failed, one had to do with bypass devices which passed, and the third one was tabled to get a clarification of what was being asked. I reached out to Ken Hoops, and Ken Hoops sent back to me, or sent back to Ken Rozelle very late today, about 5:31 p.m., a proposed wording for that particular rule. I don't think anybody has it in front of them, but the proposed ruling reads like this: all boats equipped with a mechanism, comma, such as, single quote, captain's choice, close comma, that can send engine exhaust either through the transom or below the waterline are required to set it in the below the waterline setting. One more time. All boats equipped with a mechanism, comma, such as captain's choice, close comma, that can send engine exhaust either through the transom or below the waterline are required to set it in the below waterline setting. So that would be his proposed verbiage for this rule. One question that I had posed, I posed it to Ken this evening, how is it going to be enforced? And his response was that, you know, if he pulls over a boat and the boat has been exhibiting excessive noise, but when he pulls them over, there's no noise, it would have to be sort of like on an honesty, you know, just reinforce the boater to take it below the waterline setting. So that would be the kind of enforcement that our security people would be able to do. So without further ado, what I'd like to do is make a motion to approve this new rule along with the previously approved rule to be added to the 2019 Lake Committee Rules booklet. Any discussion? That's my motion.
Do we have a second for
I
discussion?
have a question. So if they don't have the captain's choice, is there anything that's going to, I guess, come of that?
I don't understand the question.
If they have an open header engine boat, exhaust comes straight out the side, I mean, is there gonna be, there's no option to go down through the transom? Is there gonna be any, I mean, are they gonna be fine allowed on the lake, I guess.
They would be quote unquote violating this rule. It says all boats equipped with a mechanism that can send engine exhaust either through the transom or below the water line.
If they don't have the mechanism.
By having a straight pipe, that's a mechanism.
But there's, no, the mechanism is an option to either run it through the transom or not.
That's, well, in my opinion, that's the mechanics on how it would be done, but
That's how it works. It's a flip of a switch, but if you don't have that flip of a switch button, and it just goes straight out.
I think there's already a rule that states that you're not allowed to have.
Yeah, there's a noise rule.
You're not allowed to have it. This is just covering the option for somebody that wants to flip the switch. They're basically saying on Heritage Lake, you cannot, if you have that option, you gotta shut it off.
Okay.
But there is an additional rule in the rule book that states that you're not allowed to exhaust above the water line.
The option, the way you're talking about, Grant, I think is already covered in the other rule.
it's probably
And
section
that would
E,
be
paragraph
caught,
2.
and that would be caught when they're registering the boat at the marina before they put it in, there'd be a visual inspection, and they could see that that's
Did you say
the
section
case.
E?
The rule that at least Chris referenced last time regarding the noise, and I believe it's the transom, is section E, paragraph 2. Is that what you're reading?
That's what I'm looking at, yeah, I
Yep.
forgot about that. Yep, okay.
Cool. So we have a motion on the table, is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second
All in favor? Opposed? Okay, 4-2 in favor.
Can you pass this down
Motion
to
carries.
Deborah? Here's the wording.
Thank you, Tom. Okay, new business A, maintenance building addition, Ken Roselle.
During our last ops meeting, I brought up the topic about adding on to our maintenance building, which is owned by Clear Creek, more for storage of some of our nicer equipment that we have that I don't like leaving out in the weather. What I proposed was a three-sided 24 by 60 building, gravel base. It was in the neighborhood of around $8,400. The size could vary if need be. But what I was asked to do was go to the Clear Creek meeting and ask them their opinion. And they voted, all three of them, and voted that they didn't have a problem with us doing that. So.
Do we own the buildings now?
No.
Would we be paying to make their building bigger?
Correct.
Or do we own that building?
We do not own that building. We will not own that building.
If we made the addition, we wouldn't own that either. We would just be upping
Correct.
their own, and we don't have anywhere we can put our own building, our own stuff.
Well, the original, an original thought was, when we were discussing the boat storage unit out on the 30 acres, that we were gonna have an addition on the end of the building for that reason. Other than building somewhere else, I mean, it's at the end of the day, I mean, we aren't paying any lease, for that building. We haven't since we've been in there. But at the end of the day, we've got vehicles and a brand new tractor, a 12-foot batwing mower, a new boat we bought this year. It just sets out the weather. And my goal is to get this get that equipment to last for the next 25 years.
Sure.
It continues to set out in the weather, it's not going to.
I'm just saying in case Clear Creek decided all of a sudden to start charging us rent, or to start, not saying that they would, but,
It's not a big loss.
you know, if it's, I just wanna make sure that if we're spending $10,000 on getting this all done, would it make sense to do it on our own property where we had full control of maintenance and how to maintain
We'd have
it?
to build a whole entire structure if that's the case.
Which is gonna cost us more, but
So
The
you're just
question-
saying to scab onto another building, like the.
Yeah, right on the-
It's like a lean-to kind of
Yeah,
thing.
right on the back of the building, where we kind of store everything at now.
Okay.
I need
Um,
more bad.
So would it be fully enclosed or would it still be open on one side?
It'll be open on one side.
So it's really just sidewalls?
Yes, the back roof on both sides.
Okay.
Is that large enough?
Yes, yeah, we kind of measured it out and the depth of it, I forget what we had the depth of, but I think it was 16 feet deep or something like that, that we had a proposal on, and it'll get about everything we have in there that needs to be out there.
How much is it total?
It was, for the 24 by 60, it was around $8,400. That's with us doing it.
I motion we do it.
It's not something that has to be done right away. I mean, we've got plenty of stuff on our plate now, but it'd be something we could take a look at for, for late summer, that kind of thing. When some of the things-
Well, it's definitely good to get our stuff out of just getting rained and snowed on. I mean, that
Yeah, so we're looking to get this done before next winter,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
That 8,400.
The rain is just as damaging to that equipment as snow, so, I mean, it seems like if we have the money, we're not talking about a whole lot of money here, I think we ought to vote on it, get it going, put it on your docket for whenever you
Well,
guys
we've got,
have
we've
something
got
to
a
do.
motion.
Yeah.
Do you want to
May I ask a
specify
question?
time or
Uh,
money?
Manager's discretion not to exceed $9,500.
Does that include any additional gravel or not?
That does not include any additional.
Any gravel?
No gravel. We will need some additional gravel on about the last third of it. So you're probably looking at,
I put 1,100 extra on there in case you underpriced it, so
I'd say under $1,000 for gravel.
we ought to be good then.
Can I have a question first?
Yeah.
Curtis Talbert, 59 Gettysburg. Ken, why leaving that third, well, actually you're only putting two sides on, right?
Two sides in the back.
It's backing directly up in contact with the existing structure, so
You-
3 sides will be
You said one
covered.
side would be open.
Right.
Yeah, the side we pull everything in.
What, is it that much more expensive just to put a couple of doors on there? Is that not feasible? I mean, it seems to me like you would do yourself better to be able to enclose it, then you'd at least be able to protect your equipment.
Curtis, if I'd have my pick, I'd rather close it, but I would just think for the money right now, I mean, we could enclose it at any time. I mean, we can enclose it 2 years from now, if we see it's an issue. My main concern is to get the equipment out of the weather.
And I think Ken said last time, the direction of the weather is coming past it anyway. It's not gonna be coming in the open
Correct.
side typically, so
Correct.
that helps a little bit too. So we've got a motion on the table for $9,500 max.
A second.
All in favor? Unanimous?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ken. New business B, 2018 write-offs.
Every year we have to discuss the end of the year, we have to discuss our write-offs. I sent all of you guys, this information on what we suggest. And basically, these write-offs consist of anything from, the person can't be found, to file bankruptcy, tax sale, deceased, attorney may deem them uncollectible, they may have moved out of state. As you can see over to the left, all but I think one is ex-owners. This pretty much ranges from, been on the books since 2009 to 2014. If you, out of the 32 properties or locations, there's 25 of them are individuals, because there's, Graves has 3, Poff has 2, Royal Haven has 4, Benaric has 2, I think these are people we've chased and chased and chased and chased since I've been here anyway. So if you look over to the right, basically what it is about $8,000 of it is actual assessments. About $7,000 of it is late fees, interest, legal fees, that kind of thing. So we need to, get approval to get this removed from the books for tax purposes, before we end up doing our taxes.
I guess the question I have is, of these, I think you indicated 32?
Yes.
Of these 32 properties, what deterrent can we do so that in 2019, when they don't pay their assessment again, because we assume they won't, what deterrent can we use to try to either reduce this list or?
Well, these people we won't have a problem with because they're ex-owners.
So therefore, of these 32, all of these 32 we believe are going to pay their 2019 assessments?
They're ex-owners, they don't even live out here anymore.
They don't own the
Of
property.
the property itself.
Right, that have new owners.
Yeah.
The property has been sold to somebody else.
I understand that, so therefore, we're assuming that the current owner is going to pay their assessment.
Yes.
The current owner isn't inheriting the past owners.
No, I understand that, I understand
So the
that.
current
I'm
owner
just
is
looking to
paying.
see what deterrent is possible, so this situation is reduced in size next time.
Well, I think since I've been here in the last 3.5 years, I think we have really focused on
It's been going down.
collecting assessments out of here. I think I think the ladies in the office has done a really good job of making phone calls, working out payment plans if they just can't pay.
Didn't you say, that I think it went down about 50% from last
Yeah.
year's write-offs, right?
Yes.
So basically, that's the deterrent.
I think, yes,
Additional office work.
Diligence.
I think we're hitting a lot of this stuff off in the right direction. But it's just things that is, like I said, it's from 2009. Some of these have been on the books since 2009, so, if we haven't collected them in 2009, we're just writing it on the books, we might as well write it all.
No, I understand that, and I agree with that 100%. I'm just looking to see if there's any kind of deterrent that can be used, and your suggestion, more diligent or continued diligence of the office staff.
In all honesty, I mean, we've kind of went after them more aggressively. We've gotten our attorney involved, and my goal is to take a stance that, over time, we're not gonna, you're gonna live here, you're gonna pay your assessments, and have that reputation that if you don't pay, if you don't work with it, if you don't contact us and work out some kind of payment, we're coming after you. And that's not gonna get a free ride. I pay my 3 lots, they need to pay theirs. So I think that's the reason why we're heading in the right direction.
Is it possible, maybe by mid-year, to get an update on how many properties we have that haven't paid their assessment? Would that be fair?
It will be a lot at mid-year.
Mid-year is August when we turn them over to the attorney
Yeah.
to take them to court for
Okay, so
garnishing wages.
therefore we could get a list in August of the ones that are outstanding. Can we just add that to the minutes?
Good Lord, if I'm alive, if I can remember it.
Are there any rolling over from
That's
last
why
year?
we're putting it in the
Any
minutes.
rolling over from last year, like we haven't done, would they be on this list or not? I mean,
No, they wouldn't be on this list,
okay,
no.
but are there any rolling over from last year that
Oh,
haven't?
I'm sure that there's a few,
Okay.
but I think we've
Less
worked.
than this?
It's better than
Okay.
saying great.
Okay.
I think for what it's worth, like you mentioned, a few years back, this list was well over 50,000, when I was working on it back 6, 7 years ago. That's a lot of money laying out there, and the amount here is, it shows there's been some good work done.
Definitely moving in the right direction.
Yeah, I
It's
think-
always tough to look at the number and say, well, we're just gonna have to bite this one, but you gotta balance the amount of effort and cost it's gonna take to continue to pursue these that are clearly not going anywhere, so. Unless there's any other discussion, I'll take a motion.
I'll make the motion to write these items off, right at the amount I presume is 15,033.12.
Correct.
That's the amount we want to write off on our 2018 taxes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Thank you, Ken.
One point,
Yeah, Jim?
we don't really get a deduction for doing this.
It's not a dollar for dollar.
No,
Income?
it's, actually, if you look at our total assets, uncollected debt is included in your accounts receivable. So it's showing as a total asset, and this is just gonna decrease our assets a little bit.
So it's not a line item on the federal return?
It's like, something that was phantom that we never really got. It was like, now, if there's any satisfaction, the CPA is probably gonna put the write-off to the person's social security number if we have that information. Because when you forgive debt to somebody, that's income to them. But it's not.
So it doesn't change our taxes?
No, but we need to get it off because it distorts our financial statement.
Gives
So-
more false reading.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, for real big,
Yeah.
it'd be a big deal.
False reading.
This is only 15 grand.
Well, 15 grand is 15 grand. It's an addition to the maintenance.
Well, we're not gonna get into cash out of this topic.
All right, thanks, guys. New business C, acquired Clear Creek properties, maintenance and operation responsibility. Tom Novak.
Yes, basically, I just want to report that our signed addendum to our lease agreement was presented to Clear Creek Conservancy and they approved it. So therefore, now we're the proud maintenance of 136 lots. And what I'd like to see is I'd like to see either a group established or a committee established, something that would now take on the action of implementing some of things like how we could utilize this green space. Either make butterfly gardens, rain gardens, pollination plots, or just maybe as simple as, cutting down the weeds, rototillering it, and throw some wildflower seeds in the field. Because what I can envision is, the potential of if we have pollination plots with plants, potentially we could set up a couple of honeybees hives. The other thing I went a little further and suggested if this group can reach out to, like, for example, the garden club or siltation committee and get some of their inputs and ideas on how we could start to make this green space greener.
Tom, that's a really interesting point because two of the ladies from the garden club requested a meeting with Ken and I a couple days ago and discussed that very thing as far as pollination gardens and water gardens in some of the areas around the lake that they know about now. Now, the addition of these properties gives them a lot more potential to take a look at that. So I think between the garden club's involvement and maybe even long-term planning committees, that might be something that would fall under their remit.
I think it's excellent to bring to the first meeting.
Really,
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
long-term planning is somewhat out of the picture because the strategic plan that came out of long-range planning already identified the need for setting up this space. We need somebody to implement it. you know, Long Range Plan has already agreed, yes, this is an initiative. So now we need an implementer. You know, who's gonna pay for the tilling? I mean, those are all wonderful questions. And if we have an implementer, I don't know, you identified people from the, you know, people from the garden club. Did anybody step up and say, yes, I'll be the implementer championship of this project?
Does it?
Well,
Sounds like you
actually,
want
what
to
they're,
champion.
actually, what
I
they're.
agree.
I was gonna say, Tom sounds like he wants to champion
I
this, he's
think this
very
should be
excited
called-
about it.
I'm very excited about it, I want it completed.
What they're
but-
To
talking
delegate it
There you
to
go,
someone
buddy.
else.
You're in.
Part of the discussion we had, part of the discussion that we had with the garden club members that we spoke with is they want to expand their garden club to include potentially an additional, I guess, segment of it that would involve some of the younger folks in the community, because garden club, a lot of them are a little bit older, and there's no way that they could do a lot of this work, but they've got the ideas, and understand that that's something that would benefit this community, so, they're interested for sure, but if you have ideas about establishing some kind of additional club that would help them, a group that would help them,
So you're confident that the people that you've had your personal discussion with, you know, will continue to carry the ball through to fruition?
I think that they've got the vision, but being able to carry it out, I don't know that they'll be able to carry it out, not with the size of the group that they've got now. They would have to grow their team in order to be able to support that.
I guess I'm just a little concerned that it's gonna fall by the wayside.
Well, then chair it.
No, not me, I was just
Well,
wondering,
just-
any of our new board members, do you want to step up and take this project, or anybody have any other interest besides me?
William, you got a honeybee.
There you go.
Jim's got the floor.
My spouse, and I think you may know this, is a newly minted master gardener from Purdue University, and she is all over this.
And you're volunteering her.
I asked her before I came over, and she says, if they need somebody to work that project, I'm on.
Okay, can we put that down in our minutes?
I don't think she'd object.
God bless Anita.
I mean, gardening is what she's about.
I just want to record it in the minutes, so therefore, I don't know who you met with from the garden club, and that's not material, but if something happens again, or maybe those people can call Anita, since Anita just volunteered to be the implementer champion. And
She's just like you.
pardon me?
She'll encourage a bunch of other people to work.
That's fine, as long as the job gets done.
That's what she does.
And the office does have, you know,
But Tom, the resources and
for
numbers are gonna be
free,
needed.
for free, I could give this to you, and you could give it to Anita, our champion. This is a map of our community, and in orange,
I've always wanted one of those.
they're free. And in orange are identified all of the 136
Ours?
properties, yes, that we just agreed to.
Is she allowed to
maintain.
have this advanced copy prior to other people seeing it?
No, the board has already seen the list of
I'm not talking about
properties.
that, I'm talking about the general community. Wow.
Hey, Tom, do you have all the other lots that the association owns or has responsibility for?
No, not on that list. That would be additional properties. I believe there's in the order of about 20 additional ones. But that is the current bulk. What?
Diane, you've got a question?
Diane Talbot, Regional Gettysburg. A suggestion that might help, if someone could contact Arbor Day, they have lots of good, the Arbor Day Foundation out of Nebraska, they have lots of good ideas. And specifically, they have what they call outdoor classrooms. If you take 2 or 3 of these lots, this again would call for supervision, but you can make them so that kids can learn planting, they can learn flowers, they can learn what kind of trees are on those lots. they can do some of the work, I'm just sketching this out, but they have a lot of good information and a lot of good ideas.
Could you just, could I impose on you to just jot those ideas down and either email to Jim Johnson or myself? And we'll make sure they get to Anita?
Oh.
I mean, those are good ideas that shouldn't be lost. I just read an article in the paper this week, I believe. I didn't know this, but the Putnam County Library has a seed program, like a seed exchange, where you could bring your flower seeds, and it's like a checkout, but you don't necessarily return the seeds.
What a country.
Isn't it wonderful?
The Garden
So is
Club
that
Projects
okay?
were,
Will
they
you
were
do
also,
that?
And also,
Will you do
You
that?
only email it to who?
Jim, do you want it directly to you, or do you want it,
I don't want those emails.
then who would you like it sent to, Anita?
Have him call the office and ask what her email address is.
What Anita?
I really don't know what it is.
Send it to me, and I'll get it forwarded to
oh,
her.
and another.
there's also potential for grants as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I got it. I remember her email.
So,
AnitaAnotherBeer@gmail.com.
Wait, and then another thing is, a lot of people like
Mine is
myself
another
included
vodka,
have
right?
excess seeds,
That's what I mean.
bulbs from irises, bulbs from
That's really it.
daffodils
That's awesome.
that can be
It's-
bulbs.
it's an exciting project for sure. Okay, Dwayne.
Wayne County, 282 Rangers Landing.
Well,
I think
How many before?
it's all been good ideas, but
156.
I think the purpose that was presented to the Conservancy was the fact that the POA might want to put in a bark park or something like that. So I think the board needs to decide if there's any of those lots that are not available for rain gardens or planting or something, because the board has a plan to use those lots, because you don't want a situation where somebody jumps in and beautifies a lot, and then the board said, oh no, we were gonna use that lot for something else.
Yeah, it's gotta be strategic. I think, yeah.
That's a good point, Dwayne, but I don't think that we would designate any specific area for green space, for a flower garden, for a rain garden, without first agreeing which ones are suitable for those purposes and which ones might be better suited for something else.
Because I know back 6 years ago, 7 years ago, there was an ad hoc committee that looked at the lots that they thought might be interested, that the Conservancy, just a few lots at that time before the 136 were made available.
Yep.
Yeah, I have an email, and I could also get that email with that spreadsheet that Charlie
Charlie Beard
produced.
was chairman.
Correct, and I'll get that to Anita too. That's
ANITANOTHERBEER.com.
What can make
Her first name's Anita.
Yes, then.
Another, NOTHER, beer.com. That's her email.
No, it's
At gmail.com.
at gmail.
At gmail.com. She's also AnitaGreatFermentation.com, but Anita Another Beer is the one. That's
Can
the one.
you just tell her what she
We
volunteered
talked before I
for?
came over here.
Okay, so she's aware of it.
Well, now the whole
Do
world knows.
do you have it down, or, again, you can email it to me?
Oh, I forgot we were on camera.
Oh, trouble.
Send in one.
We had another comment in the back.
Yeah, Shannon Lee, 2 Lincoln Hills. So, are these properties now common areas?
They're owned by the POA.
They're owned by the
Leased,
Conservancy.
owned by the Conservancy, leased by the POA.
But they got counted.
It's not actually a lease, it's just a maintenance, it's an agreement. It's a maintenance agreement. And the agreement was added as an addendum to our lake agreement. Currently, the POA has an agreement with the Conservancy for the maintenance operation of the lake. And this was an addendum added to that agreement. And the intent was, as Dwayne pointed out, to establish green space.
We have an agreement with the Conservancy seems to extend to things like putting fish into the lake.
For the operation of the lake, correct?
So why isn't this the same thing?
It is, it was an
So
addendum to
then
that
The
agreement.
POA is responsible then for hiring someone to do this work.
Not necessarily.
I mean, you
To
can
take it, you're
volunteer.
right, to take on the work. You know, does it need to have an additional person hired? Maybe,
No, no, no,
maybe
I'm
not.
talking about that.
But yes, it would be up to the POA to provide the manpower, the equipment, et cetera, to maintain these 136 properties. That's what the addendum states.
Yeah, okay. The reason I'm asking that is that, you know, the first thing that was said, and maybe I'm just confused about this, was the garden club could do X. Well, the garden club is totally volunteer. I don't know that anybody's paying for any of the things that the garden club brings and plants and so on. So I mean, to rely on the garden club to do volunteer work out of their own hide and out of their own labor makes no sense to me.
That's something that.
I don't think that was ever my position was that this group that Anita is now heading up, to reach out to the garden club, to reach out to the siltation committee and get their input on what might be able to be done with these lots, to reach out to the Curtises to see what their input is. Just to reach out and get input, not necessarily that they will be the implementers, but I'm sure Anita will come up with what her needs are, either manpower needs, financial needs, etc., and present them back to the board.
And just like a lot of other things that are run by volunteers in this community, if they get to the point where they've done fundraising, they have money to spend on their own to do some of this work, or they come to the board and request funds to do things that the board agrees need to be done.
I think they even mentioned that there was grants available.
Yeah, and grants are another opportunity too.
Who said that?
For
Needed.
Anita. Okay, one more point on this and we gotta move on.
And probably, of course, a lot, I don't know what lots these are, but a lot of these lots may be like, some of the other lots around here, totally overgrown by trees and shrubs and vines and brambles, and that's gonna, would take a lot of clearing. Now, I don't know if the POA has the equipment to, you know,
I don't know that we're
clear 'em,
committed to
so-
clearing anything at this point. I
Yeah, I know,
think
it's
we've
just-
got these properties, we've got opportunities, some of them would make awesome green spaces. Some of them would just need to stay the way they are, others maybe
Some-
great rain garden opportunities because they've got gullies in them, so that's something, obviously, there's gonna be a team that's gonna be looking at.
Yeah, but I'm
what to
just
do.
saying, if, it might take heavy equipment if we choose some of them that seem to be in a
If we
good
choose.
spot for
Yeah,
something.
yep.
And that'll be a little.
That'll be
you know,
another discussion, that's not just gonna happen without more board
Big
input.
work for, you know, for
Yeah.
Ken and his crew or something.
Yeah, it's gonna be bigger than that for sure.
Sounds like the committee just got a new member. Or the group.
All right, that's all for the agenda. We'll move over to open forum. I'll ask that you raise your hand, state your lot number, and be polite and courteous and follow the rules. So Ben, go ahead.
Ben Fuchs, 77 Gettysburg. Does anybody know who cleared our roads? Did our maintenance guys do that?
No,
The county?
the county highway did.
The county did? At the
I was
next
out playing a
commissioners-
little, I was out playing a little bit.
Next commissioners meeting, I'll thank them.
Yeah.
They did a very good job. I planned on saying something to Mike. I made a comment over the weekend. I think those are the kinds of things you see that you have a good relationship with, you know. I have a good relationship with Mike Ricketts, and I think that definitely helps.
Yeah.
And the times that I've thanked them for what they've done for us, they, you know, it boosts their day.
I actually seen, and I haven't seen this in the many times in the 17 years I've lived here, or 18 years, I actually seen salt on Heritage Drive today.
Brine trucks, yeah, they make a loop all the way around
But
one
when
way and
that's-
then they go the
Okay,
other
yeah.
way.
When that snow started falling, they were on it. I mean, I was out cleaning my driveway and they'd been by my house about 3 or 4 times, and then when I got out, I seen their trucks kinda hitting a lot of the side streets, and they were very responsive, and I appreciated that.
That was excellent response time, I agree. Before we go any further, I'd like to give Mary Ann Novak, an opportunity to talk about the blood drive results.
Okay, you saved me raising my
Sorry,
hand.
sorry, go ahead.
Mary Ann Novak, 25 Mill Springs. Heritage Lake Emergency Preparedness Team at Red Cross is forever grateful to this wonderful Heritage Lake community. Last Wednesday for our blood drive, we had 42 people come out, register, and we collected 46 units of blood because the double reds count differently, and I don't know how that happens, that you have fewer people, but we got more credit for the blood. And the exciting part is that 10 of those people were first-time donors, and they weren't kids that were first-time donors, but that they came out. I think the signage, I think the fire station sign, and the highlights, it was in the Hoosier Topics, all that in word of mouth. It's just getting better and better. So that is the most that we've collected in the 5 that we've had. And many of you are here. I'd like to thank Don Williams for donating blood. I'd like to thank Diane Talbert for donating blood. I'd like to thank Curtis Talbert for donating blood. I'd like to thank Jeff Brooks for donating blood. I'd like to thank William Gupel for donating blood. I'd like to thank Paul Forbes for coming to donate blood. I'd like to thank Ken Roselle for donating blood. I'd like to thank Chris Schaefer for donating blood. And I'd like to thank, last but not least, my wonderful Tom Novak for donating blood. So thank you all. It was wonderful.
Thank you,
Thank you for
Mary Ann.
your effort.
Thank you for all the work that you put into that, because it's a whole lot of work and a lot of time out of you, so thank you, Mary Ann. Diane.
Diane Tower, 309 Gator. Yes, be sure to thank the county for, they came by our house twice. I go, I mean, it was less incredible. They came by our house twice. And also, has anyone actually seen, or do we have the tanker now?
Yes.
At the firehouse?
Yep.
We do?
I drove it.
Yes.
I drove it.
Yeah.
Good,
It's a big Hummer, isn't it?
that's great.
I think no.
Thank you, Diane.
We finally, that's great.
Mary Williams.
I was just wondering about, could someone send a really nice thank you note to whomever, you know, for the roads? I mean, send it to the office. It was probably done by the county, wasn't it?
Yeah. I'll send him one.
I think, they went by our place 4 times. I was so impressed, I couldn't believe it. I mean, I do believe it. They did a wonderful, it was wonderful.
They must have got new trucks too, and wanted to drive them around.
Oh.
I don't know, but they,
Thank you, Mary. Anybody else? Deborah.
Just wanted to make an announcement for Neighborhood Watch. They will be holding their 2nd annual Gold Bowl Chili Cook-Off on Saturday, March 2nd. Doors open at 4. Winner will be announced at 6. Those who are judging the chili will be $4 per person. And you'll receive a bowl of chili or a bowl to fill up as many times as you like after the judging. And you need to contact April Land in the office to get your crock pot spot. Just careful with that one.
Say that.
Thank you, Doug.
What was the date on that? March
It's March 2nd.
Tom, you need to enter your chili.
All right, anything else? Anybody else?
I'll make a motion.
I'll take a
We
motion.
adjourn?
Second? All in favor? Have a good night. Thank you, everybody, for coming. 5-minute executive session, guys.
5 minutes.
10 minutes. Ken's got something too.
10 minutes.
See ya.
Still working through
She's doing the front of the house. Yeah.
No,
Anita, other. Taking it. Oh, there isn't any.
Nita,
I'm not.
Go back to the first.
but anyway, she's
Yes, it doesn't take it. I could lay in bed.
Somewhere else.
I don't see anything that says you. Oh, okay. I'm glad I can't read it then.
Well, there really isn't any need.
I'll check them out.
You read that?
I'll bring you in a shade, you can see that tanker.
How are you doing today?
Well, I'm not gonna.
We still got to
Ben's got it.
Thanks for coming.
Just learned.
We didn't take one run.
Mine, there it is.
I never get it. Get that far.
starting to come into shape.
I forget how to do this.
Yeah.